Well, Jillian, out with the old, in with the new. One of New York's longest-serving members of Congress, Jerry Nadler, saying it's time to pass the torch to a new generation, announcing he will not seek re-election. His departure is spotlighting other Democrats seeking to spend their twilight years on Capitol Hill. Let's bring in Hugh Hewitt, host of the Hugh Hewitt Show, also a Fox News contributor. Hugh, this is really interesting. We saw, it wasn't too long ago that the now departed deputy of the DNC, David Hogg, wanted to spend millions of dollars to primary older Democrats. For that, they threw him out. But now Jerry Nadler seems to be trying to encourage some of his fellow Democrats to pass the torch. What do you make of it?
Well, good afternoon, Griff. I think Congressman Nadler heard the bell tolling for him in a primary that will come next year, and he was going to lose. And the Democratic Party is becoming increasingly left-wing, even dancing on that left edge, falling into the chasm of irrelevance. But their older members are the first people to be targeted. AOC started that trend. The Congress of the United States has 535 members. 53 of them are over the age of 70, and I believe 20 are over the age of 80. Disproportionately Democrat, by the way. The oldest one, though, is Senator Chuck Grassley, 91, soon to be 92 in Iowa. He's an inspiration to every senior out there in America. He's an extraordinary individual in great health and great mental fitness. But a lot of the people over 70 are not, and some of the people over 80 are not. And the left wing doesn't want to wait. The GOP is by contrast, much more patient with their older members, but they have fewer of them. For example, you just had on Senator Langford. He's 57 in his prime. Senator Cotton's 48. You've got Senator Rubio and Senator Vance who left. They were young men. Young people are doing just fine in the GOP, and they're not knocking off older people to get there. Democrats are not at all willing to do that. So I expect a lot of primary challenges for the people over 70 who do not get out of the way of the rising Democratic left.
Well, and as usual, Hugh, you're spot on. And forget the 70-year-olds. They're the pikers. Let's deal with the octogenarians. When you look at just the House, it is disproportionate. We can show you there are, I believe, 4 members of the House GOP, 80 years or older. You see them here: Hal Rogers, John Carter, Virginia Foxx, and Jim Baird. But look at the number of House Democrats that are 80 or older. It just goes all the way down the list there. And, I was reading in Axios about Eleanor Holmes Norton, who I live in D.C., our long-running member of Congress, was talking to Axios. The headline, of course, is Holmes Norton on whether she'll seek re-election. She says this: "Of course, I say that my seniority is what is very important, and I'm not going to step aside." She says, is that going to work? These Democrats making the case that, well, I'm more experienced, that I should just keep my job. It's better than the unexperienced younger folks, when we have seen Democrats trying to say they need change.
It depends entirely on the district, Griff, as I bet you know. If you go out to Maxine Waters, I've been in broadcast for 35 years. She's always been the congresswoman from L.A. from the day I started to today, and she's going to stay there as long as she wants to because her district is overwhelmingly drawn to favor her. But there are districts in places like New York where the demographic is ascendant, young people, mixed demographic, but overwhelmingly tilting young. They are unwilling to indulge retirement plans built on tenure in Congress. There is no tenure in Congress, and they're not going to put up with it anymore.
Speaking of the newcomers, before I run out of time, Hugh, I want to play a little bit of Zohran Mamdani's latest video saying, "Don't send us any more money. We're maxed out." Watch.
We've raised the maximum amount of money we can spend in this race. We are once again asking, not for your dollars, but your time. Do not send us any more money.
All right, Hugh, your reaction.
It's the greatest thing in the world for earned media, free media, because there is an $8 million expenditure limit if you take public funds in New York City. He's met it, so to make an announcement out of the inevitable is a great thing for him because we're going to talk about it. I'll talk about it on my show today. We're talking about it right now. Unless 2 of the other 3 candidates get out, he's the next mayor of New York City, and that is very, very bad news for New York City. I hope either Eric Adams or Curtis Lewa or Andrew Cuomo, 2 of those 3 get out, or he's going to be Mr. Mayor, and it's going to be a disaster for the Big Apple.
And it's something to watch, and you can listen to Hugh Hewitt on his radio show, The Hugh Hewitt Show, talking about this. Hugh, have a great weekend.
Thanks, Griff. You too.
I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.